Well, Razorback fans, there's a lot of things going on already with the transfer portal. Players that are jumping in and other players that are staying. Good and bad news. So let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Make sure to download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday. As this, I'm just going to give you guys a heads up. These podcasts are going to be extremely difficult to record because it is always moving and shaking. In fact, I had a plan for what I was going to talk about in today's podcast, and I had to make some adjustments because of some announcements that happened later into the night. So just keep that in mind, that if something happens that you're like, wait, John didn't talk about this, or did John not know about this? Odds are I recorded it before the news actually broke. So just bear with me on that. I'll try to keep you up to date. I'll try to keep it as fresh as possible, but we'll talk about some of the latest with the coaching changes or lack thereof. Talking with Sam Pittman, but also with Bobby Petrino and the latest there. But there was some big news that the Razorbacks got as far as portal news goes. We'll start with the departure, and we'll start with the returnees, because I think the departure is a very big and important one to dive into, because a lot of you feel very passionate about this one. And this came from originally On3 and in the transfer portal, that Malachi Singleton, the Razorback quarterback, has officially announced that he will enter into the transfer portal. He is part of a four-star quarterback class of 2023. He was an Elite 11 finalist, and he's going to have 3 years of eligibility remaining. So here's the thing. That's not a surprise. It's just not. It's not a surprise. It's not saying that it's okay and fine and dandy and all of that, but it's something I think most people can understand. Now, before everybody gets fired up and starts talking about like why Malachi Singleton, it's wrong for him to leave, or why Arkansas is wrong for letting him leave, or whatever it is, let's look at this into perspective, okay? So here's the stats for Malachi Singleton this past season. He was 21 of 28 for 358 yards and a touchdown. Of course, his biggest moment, of course, came in the game-tying or game-winning drive against Tennessee, in that moment where he scored and rushed in for the touchdown. So was really big there. But hasn't seen a whole lot of action other than just playing in that game against Tennessee. I think a little bit against Auburn in that one play. Saw him in Ole Miss in garbage time. And even saw him against UAPB. So just pretty limited action. But, he's going into the portal. I wish that he wasn't. Of course, like it's not like, oh, good riddance to the backup quarterback in Malachi Singleton. It's not that at all. I truly like Malachi Singleton. I think he's a really good quarterback that he'll be, wherever he ends up going, will probably be a great addition for them. And I wish him nothing but the best of luck. No ill feelings, no anything like that. And that is also dealing with the Razorbacks in the football program. I have no ill feelings towards them about Malachi Singleton moving on. And here's why, folks, because again, you got to keep it in perspective. Here is why. If you're a backup quarterback at an SEC program, you don't want to be a backup quarterback anymore. And especially when the starting quarterback, the current starting quarterback, is going to be the starting quarterback the next season. So that looks to be the case right now with Taylen Green. Taylen Green was the starter this year. He was the starter from the very jump, from the very get-go. Back in spring practice, he was the starter. Other guys had opportunities to move up there. You had Jacoby Criswell at the time, and Malachi Singleton, KJ Jackson, all of that. But when Taylen Green was the guy, Jacoby Criswell transferred out, went back to North Carolina. No ill will or anything like that. And then Malachi Singleton stepped up in the backup role. He knew he was going to be the backup. He knew that there would be times he'd need to be counted on. And so there you have it. But after all of that, and knowing all of that, the current way and status of how college football is ran, and especially in major college football, backup quarterbacks don't want to be backups for a very long time. There are exceptions to every rule. But the thing that backup quarterbacks want to do is play. And if they were highly regarded players coming out of high school and everything, they especially want to play, because this isn't the time where, oh, you can just play 8 years and be fine with it. No, you only have, because now we're finally getting to the point to where it's going back to normal of you only have 5 years to play 4. He's going to have 3 years of eligibility remaining. So by him hitting the portal, this is the best move for him. And it's okay. Because I think that there could be a place, I don't know where he's going to end up going. I mean, is it going to be another SEC school? Don't know. Could it be a group of 5 school? I don't know. Like, it just depends on what his offers are going to be like. But the point is that he wants to play. And honestly, if you look at it in any perspective, and you can use Arkansas in this example or some other team in this example, but would you rather just be the constant backup for 3 straight years at one school? Or would you be the backup for those first 2 years, feel like you got enough film on yourself, and then knowing that you're not going to be the starter the next season, hop into the portal and see what's out there? Who knows? Maybe you get a really great offer from another great school to where you can step right in and be the starter right away. That's a great situation to be in, because you can't be seen, you can't be utilized when you're on the bench. You can call it quitting. You can call it, you can hate the way that it's done with the portal, and that's fine. I understand that if you feel that way, but that's the current state of college football. And to me, I don't know if Sam Pittman said this or Bobby Petrino said this or if anybody said this, but if Singleton had come to me and I was the head coach and I knew my situation with Taylor Green and everything, and he said, Coach, I'm entering the transfer portal. I want to play, but obviously it's not going to be here. I'd say, hey, we appreciate it. I respect that decision. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help, because you got to get it. You got to understand that's the mentality. Everybody wants to play. And now that the portal open, people can get those opportunities to go elsewhere. So again, wish him nothing but the best. And honestly, I'm also very confident in KJ Jackson. I really liked KJ Jackson, just the look of him out there as a true freshman in those spring practices and spring ball. Dude looks really good, looks the part. So I'm pretty excited about him. So yeah, I know people have some certain feelings about that, but people have certain feelings about everything. But the positive notes, at least for the Razorback football team coming out, is you had two really key defenders returning, which honestly, I was surprised that you got both of them. First was Xavian Sorey. Xavian Sorey just tweeted out that he was going to be returning as to the Razorbacks next season, and he did it in very, social media savvy deal of like, I don't even know really what to think of it, but it's just funny to me because sometimes the message is pretty clear, but sometimes people are like, okay, so does this mean they're coming back, or is it something subliminal, or what's going on here? Well, Xavian Sorey just tweeted out, let's run it again. #GoHogs, #WooPigSuey. And it's a picture of him. So the Razorback Twitter account retweeted it. It looks like he is returning and he is coming back. So that's big. I know Xavian Sorey, is he the greatest linebacker ever played at Arkansas? No, but the dude's really good. He's a good SEC caliber linebacker. So I'm excited the fact that he's coming back. And then the other one was, I would say a little bit maybe more of a surprise, was Cam Ball, the defensive lineman. And he was feeling himself on Twitter. He says, let's do it again. Woo Pig. He said, Woo Pig 2025, and pictures of him and his dance and everything like that. So he was pumped up and excited. I love the fact that he just came out and said, yep, let's do this. I'm making it happen. And then he said, woo damn pig, in another tweet. And then he quote tweeted Xavian Sorey and said, yes, sir, 10. And then he tweeted out, my coach. And it was a gif of Sam Pittman. So he really was going crazy and going wild with it and having fun with it, the fact that he's going to be returning. So those are very big, important pieces of the Razorback setup of how it's going to go. And I talked about this on Inside Arkansas, but I'll relay it to the message to all of you too. I felt like if you are Arkansas, defensively and offensively, you got to get as many players as you want to get back. The offensive line, for instance, all of them can come back if they want to or if they're able to. But the defense, I felt like you had to get your best defensive lineman, your best linebacker, and your best secondary player to come back. Like, that would be a great foundation. Xavian Sorey is your best linebacker. You got him to come back. Cam Ball, and I'm talking about guys that could return. Landon Jackson's not coming back, so I'm not talking about him. But Cam Ball, as far as eligibility and everything, he's your best guy to get back on the D-line, and he's coming back. The next one's going to be Jalen Braxton, which I think is the most difficult one because we didn't see him play this year. Odds are feeling like, I have no evidence of this or any, just pure gut feeling, it looks like that he would probably enter into the portal. But maybe he comes back for another season. That'd be great. That'd be huge for Arkansas if he does. But if you're able to get Jalen Braxton back, this defense is really going to be well put together. And I think it's also going to be safe assuming that Travis Williams is going to be returning as the DC. Because I would, again, going off of just logic, these players would not be announcing they're coming back unless they felt like their defensive coordinator was coming back with them. So there's a safe assumption. But one coordinator that may not be coming back is Bobby Petrino. And we'll talk about that in here in just a second. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, all you Razorback fans out there, I know all of you are going to need tickets to the latest and greatest games. Sometimes it's Razorback events. Sometimes it's NFL games or NBA games or college basketball games. Maybe it's concerts. Maybe it's theater. Maybe it's comedy shows. Whatever it is, you got to get a ticket. And the only place to get your ticket is the Game Time app. They make it so much easier to save so much more money on sports and concerts, comedy, theater, everything. And they also have the all-in pricing feature, which you can toggle that feature and it shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You can also get a panoramic view of the seat from the app before you buy it. So that way, when you're looking at that picture and it shows you exactly what your viewpoint's going to look like, you know what you're getting before you buy it. They have the lowest price guaranteed. If you find someplace cheaper, they will credit you 110% of the difference. It's that simple. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your very first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. You have kind of a crazy thing happening right now, and it's weird. It's wild. It's interesting, but it's something that's worth discussing. Bobby Petrino, BMFP, as we all know and love him by. I don't know. I wouldn't say that this year was a failure with Bobby, but I wouldn't say it was a massive success either. You know, I think it was just very... right there. It was fine. I'd like to see what would happen for another season. But there started becoming some speculation about Petrino maybe not even returning to Arkansas next season. And it started out with some reports about him being in the mix for certain jobs. I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But this kind of started coming out, and this was coming from On3 and 24/7 Sports, that Bobby Petrino became a real possibility for the head coaching position over at the Charlotte. I believe they're the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. So everyone was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Bobby Petrino, of all the coordinators that were going to leave, it was going to be him? Like, I think it would be Travis Williams going for a better job. I figured like it was going to be, Scott Fountain moving on. But no, they're saying that Petrino might be in the mix for something like this. It's kind of a surprise to some. But either way, it kind of went by the wayside for just a little bit. And then there were some reports coming out that they were saying that, hey, Petrino was in his office today, which was Monday. He was still coaching, still getting ready. He was still at the office, so he hadn't officially accepted the job, but it's not ruling him out, but he was back in Arkansas and everything. There was even a picture that was taken about Petrino being there in Charlotte. This is a couple days ago, live from the, or somebody took the picture from the tarmac, or what's it called? The terminal, maybe, in the airports. I don't know airport lingo. But coming off of the plane inside the little tunnel thing that they're taking into, he was there in Charlotte. So obviously there is some interest there. Obviously there is some reasons for them to be interviewing. He's not in Charlotte for no reason. Like, he's over there interviewing it and all that. And one of the things that was presented to me, and, this is something that means something, I don't know, but the current chancellor of Charlotte, the UNC Charlotte, is Sharon Gaber, who was the provost at the University of Arkansas when Bobby Petrino was fired, and there may be a connection there. So anyways, this is the latest, and this is the biggest speculation that people are having right now. So you're probably like, okay, so what? So is he going? Is he staying? What's happening? Do you even care? Whatever. Here's my thing, and this is just my opinion on the matter. If Petrino leaves for Charlotte, if he becomes head coach there, well, hey, it's his prerogative. He can do whatever he wants. But to me, it shows that there was a pretty big problem offensively and within the locker room, within the coaching elements, within the admin, something to that nature. There was something wrong. Because I have a hard time believing that Bobby Petrino goes from returning home as the Arkansas OC and being so excited and being all in, and he gets to keep his quarterback next year. And, he had a couple of guys that he even brought in, the running backs coach as well as the wide receiver coach were his guys. Like, he did all of that only to leave after a year to go be the head coach at Charlotte. I'm sorry. I just have a hard time believing that that's something that, he wants to do and that he was working towards. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. Maybe I'm looking at it in the negative light, but to me that maybe show more of there's a problem. There's a problem going on, whether it's the way working for Pittman, whether it was the things going on. Again, he hasn't accepted, at least according to the time of this recording, he has not accepted the job at Charlotte. It's just there's some real wheels to this. There's some real movement to it. So if that happened, though, that would be the assumption, would be that he went because he wanted out. Like, you don't go in for a year, and then when the head coach is keeping his job, because I can understand if Pittman was fired, like what happened at A&M, Jimbo got fired and he didn't have a job. But you're still there. You're still the OC. You still have your guys. You still have your quarterback, and you're leaving for Charlotte? There's got to be a lot more to that. And so that would immediately be my assumption in my realm of where he would end up going or leaving after just one single season. But also at the same time, it would really be problematic for Sam Pittman even more so than it is now. Keeping Travis Williams, keeping your defense, that's a good sign. That's good. But if you lose Bobby Petrino, like, what are you going to do here? It was already a tough situation as it is because it was kind of like a win or go home type of season this year. So what are you going to do? Are you just going to go out and hire some random OC for 1 year? Because odds are, it looks like it's inevitable. Odds are you're not going to be the coach after next season. So if you're the coordinator, you're just going to, I'll go and coach at Arkansas for 1 year. What quality coordinator is going to want to do that? And they're going to want their quarterback. So do you just tell Taylor Green to hit the bricks if he doesn't like him? Like, this could really have an epic, horrible domino effect to disaster areas if it comes to fruition. Again, it has not been confirmed, but there is some smoke to the fire that Bobby Petrino would move on and become the head coach at Charlotte. And so that becomes even more problematic. It becomes more of a even a bigger issue. Because not only you got portal season going on right now, signing day is about to happen for a lot of these offensive players. You even got, for crying out loud, you got Sam Pittman going under the knife, which we'll talk about Sam Pittman, but he's going under the knife for his hip surgery. And all of this is going on, and you're just Petrino. You're like, to deuces, I'm out. We'll see you. There's going to be some falling out from that. There's going to be some questions asked. There's going to be some problems. There's going to be a lot of hell to pay, if you would. And I just don't know why that would be the case. I would hate it because I love Petrino. I mean, you all know how much of a fan I am of Petrino. And I think the offense took tremendous strides this season. Wasn't perfect, wasn't great by any stretch, but compared to what it was a year ago with a whole new offensive line and a whole new quarterback and a whole new running back, and they did a pretty good job, all things considered. So I want to see where it would go from here. But either way, that could be pretty problematic, pretty epic, pretty wild if that ends up being the case, but we'll try to keep you updated on it. We will talk about Sam Pittman on the other side of the break, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, folks, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on in the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a bunch of stuff going on in the middle of the game and you feel like you want to check out not only the latest stats, but view live play-by-play and so much more on the same page, well, they also have a place to where you can make your bets right there. So you have it all in one place. Very easy to do. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. It's really simple to do. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Everybody knows this by now, so it's not like I'm telling you anything new, but it did come out yesterday that Sam Pittman is returning officially as the head coach. Now, they didn't put out a statement as far as anything from the University of Arkansas, but Brett McMurphy of the Action Network was really the first national major guy to put it out there. He said in a tweet, Arkansas coach Sam Pittman will return in 2025, source close to the program told Action Network. There was speculation that Pittman may retire, but Pittman, 29-31 with 3 bowl games, will return for a 6th season at the U of A. He is scheduled to undergo hip replacement surgery on Tuesday, which is today. So you had other people piling on and reporting that as well. And the reaction that people had was pretty wild and pretty crazy, but it wasn't surprising. I'm going to be very honest and very open about this, folks, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, because I talked a lot about it yesterday on the podcast, but I'm just going to be very blunt with all of you. The situation that the University of Arkansas finds themselves in as an athletic department is a very toxic one. Everything's very toxic right now. And it's not because of fans. It's not because of that. It's because of the U of A. The U of A is in trouble. I'm going to be honest about it. The U of A is in trouble right now. They have chose, and when I say they, I'm talking about everybody involved. They have chose to go against the will, or at least against the wishes of the vast majority of the fan base in making a change. They made that decision. I feel like they made that decision after last season, and now they've doubled down on that decision after this season. So they already have that issue going on. Then you throw in the lack of communication that they've been having with the fans, and just the only time we've ever heard of anybody is hey, just give money. Just give money. And it's been bad. I think the Arkansas Edge has not been very successful. I don't think they've done a good job in promoting and marketing. I don't think that they've done the things that it's needed to really get people excited about it enough to be able to donate their hard-earned cash. Because right now, and I'm not trying to get political on it, but right now what it feels like the U of A is just becoming like the government, where it's like, hey, give us your tax money. Trust us, we'll spend it the right way. But you haven't seen any real reason to believe that it's going to get spent in the right way. You know, the NIL, since it's been going on, there hasn't been a whole lot of good feelings about it being spent the right way. And then people are like, well, look at basketball and John Calipari. Yeah, but that was a big Tyson part of it too. Let's be honest about it. So, you know, you can approach it that way, but at the end of the day, you still have to showcase it. You still have to have some sort of reason and excitement for people to buy into it. And it just hasn't been that way. People don't trust the U of A right now. They don't trust Yurachek. They don't trust the coaching staff. They don't trust that it's all going to be better, that this is going the right direction. Right now, what it feels like, folks, is it feels like the University of Arkansas is penny pinching at the and that's the only thing they care about, which is important. I'm not saying it's not. But it gives the vibe that every decision being made is strictly financial. Well, you can't fire Sam Pittman. Why? Well, it costs too much money. You can't fire any of the staff. Why? Well, it costs too much money. Can't get any money raises. It costs too much money. Can't do any of these things. Cost too much money. Can't do renovations. Cost too much money. Hey, I get it. Money doesn't grow on trees. You got to have it. But do you not have it because of the way that it's been mismanaged, perhaps? Do you not have it because of the way that you've turned a lot of fans off on your program and on you and on the excitement surrounding it? That, to me, is a bigger problem with the administration and less of a problem with strictly, oh, you, the fans, you're not giving enough money. I think that ruined so much of any goodwill that Razorback fans had towards Yurachek, had towards the administration, had towards Pittman, had towards anybody, is when they felt, whether it's right or wrong, they felt like they were being guilted because it's like, oh, your team's not very good, or you feel like you're not doing enough. Well, you're not paying enough. It's because of you. You're not giving us enough money. That's how it felt to some fans. And since that point in time, there's been no communication on, hey, this is actually what's going on. This is actually what's supposed to be happening. This is actually what we're doing. All it's been is just screw you, give money. It's a problem, folks. It is a problem right now. And I'm not, and I think, I can't remember if I've talked between Inside Arkansas and between Locked On Razorbacks. I talk about it so many times that sometimes I forget if I mentioned it on one or the other, but just in case I didn't. I'm not basing all of this on and the feelings of Razorback fans based off Twitter. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to real legitimate fans that big boosters and donors that are very uneasy about the way things are going right now. They want some change and they don't have a lot of faith in the leadership. I'm talking to people inside the program that feel that way. And when you have all this toxicity going on, it looks like Petrino's trying to leave. Hunter Yurchek looks like he was trying to leave. I mean, again, the guy wanted the Texas A&M job badly, didn't get it. He got rumored with the South Carolina job, and I don't know if it's for sure true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was trying to get out there and go to South Carolina. So, with all that, it just seems like everyone's trying to get out of Arkansas, except for the one person that people want out of Arkansas, which is Sam Pittman. So it's all backwards right now. But it's very toxic. It's very sad. And I really wish and I really hope that there's some sort of resolution here soon. It's getting nasty. And it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. And I hate it. I hate it for everybody involved. But something's got to change. Something's got to get done. Because what's going on right now can't be it. Cannot be it, one way or the other. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. We'll see you then.